Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Box from Box and Jackalope, and welcome to another World of Warcraft video. Recently, Blizzard announced that Bolvar will be our host during Shadowlands. This has me very excited. As someone who was a huge fan of Wrath of the Lich King, this feels like a very nice follow-up story. So for those of you who don't know who Bolvar Fordragon was, Bolvar Fordragon served as temporary King of Stormwind during Varian Wryn's disappearance. He ended up leading the Alliance expedition against the Lich King during the Wrath of the Lich King campaign. Bolvar unfortunately ended up meeting his end during the Wrathgate. During the events of Icecrown Citadel, it is discovered that Bolvar Fordragon is being tortured by Arthas. During the Horde version, box bias, Sarfang agrees we must rescue him to quell the bad blood between the Alliance and Horde. At the end of the raid, we defeat Arthas, and we discover the Red Dragonflight kept Bolvar alive in a state between life and death. Bolvar tells Tirion Fordragon to place the crown upon his head. He will become the jailer of the damned. Tirion agrees and Bolvar takes on this grim task. Bolvar tells Tirion that nobody can know that he became the Lich King, so the world can live away from the tyranny of fear. Bolvar is very quiet up until the events of World of Warcraft Legion, where him and the Death Lord interact heavily throughout the Death Knight Order Hall campaign. He recreates the Four Horsemen to defend Azeroth from the Burning Legion. The members of the Four Horsemen this time around are very controversial figures around Azeroth. General Nazgrim, Sally Whitemane, Trollbane, and Darian Mograine, each with their own story and very interesting arc throughout Legion. For Darian Mograine, an interesting fact about him is it was actually supposed to be Tirion Fordragon in his place. Bolvar wanted us to resurrect Tirion as the final member of the Four Horsemen, Darian losing his life in the process. We resurrect Darian at the end of the Death Knight Order Hall campaign, and he becomes the leader. One of my favorite moments in World of Warcraft Legion was actually the ending of their campaign. They had to have the most interesting Order Hall campaign, I'm just saying, guys. Bolvar's questionable acts don't stop at these characters, though. He has us go kill some Red Dragonflight members, which is very questionable for our Order Hall mount. Bolvar seems to be a very big consequentialist in Legion, having us do very questionable things for the greater good of Azeroth. Almost Hawaiian Pandaren when you think about it. Bolvar also makes an appearance in Battle for Azeroth, where he tells Vol'jin his spirit has become something else, and then he boots us outside of Icecrown Citadel. So that brings us to Shadowlands, where Bolvar is defeated by none other than our favorite Banshee, Sylvanas Windrunner. What I hope that we get here is conflict from him. How did being the Lich King affect him? How much of Bolvar is still in him, and was he in full control? I personally think Bolvar was in full control, as the Scourge never ran rampant in Azeroth, and he did a good job hiding this for many years. This brings us to his daughter, Talia Fordragon, one of my favorite characters in Battle for Azeroth, by the way.
It is an honor to meet you, King Wryn. I am Talia. Talia Fordragon.
Fordragon?
Daughter of Bolvar, fostered under our protection since the Third War.
Talia, please, rise. The honor is mine.
Did you know my father?
High Lord Bolvar was a great man, a true hero to the Alliance, and to me. I remember now. He used to write you letters. He had a nickname for you.
My shining star. The letters stopped coming. I have so many questions.
Talia, when time permits, you must come to Stormwind as my guest. I have many stories to share about your father.
With that reveal, I believe Talia Fordragon will be working very close alongside her father, Bolvar. There are breadcrumbs to this in 8.3, with her going to Stormwind and asking Anduin about her father. This is going to create some really interesting drama and tension in the Alliance, and I'm very excited for this storyline.
I saw you speaking with a messenger from Kultiris, Jaina. Is everything all right?
Nothing to worry about. It was a letter from a certain eager cadet asking to see Stormwind, and to learn more about her father.
Talia, please tell her that this isn't a good time for visitors.
She deserves to hear the truth, Anduin, from you.
Tirion Fordragon himself made us swear that we would keep the secret of Bolvar's fate. You made that vow just as I did.
I remember your father once telling me that the hardest thing about a promise isn't keeping it, but knowing when it's right to break it.
Bolvar was a noble man. To know that he sits frozen upon that accursed throne, devoting his very life to keeping the monsters at bay, It breaks my heart. I can't bear to see it break Talia's too.
The decision is yours, Anduin, but if she learns that the truth was kept from her, it will hurt her all the more.
I think inevitably during the pre-patch event, Talia will make her way to Stormwind, but only time will tell. Either way, I can't wait for the juicy dialogue between her and Anduin. I think this storyline would be very, very tragic. Think about this for a minute. Talia gets to interact with her father throughout the whole expansion when he's no longer the Lich King, only for at the end of the expansion, he takes on the grim task of becoming the jailer of the damned again. This would break my heart as much as Anduin's heart is going to be broken when he has to break the news to Talia. The last thing I wanted to discuss related to Talia was how I actually think she's going to be one of the ways we see more of Bolvar's human side. One of the things that Blizzard has talked about related to Bolvar Fordragon is how much of the Lich King is there and how much of Bolvar is there. And that's something I'm really, really excited for in Shadowlands. Either way, I think this is going to be one of the most exciting interactions in World of Warcraft Shadowlands, and I cannot wait for it. So let's get back to Bolvar Fordragon's role in Shadowlands. I think Bolvar will be a catalyst character that sends us to the different realms of the Shadowlands. I think he's essentially going to become the Khadgar of this expansion, which, honestly, sign me up. That sounds awesome. And it also seems like we'll have a very more, a very serious tone to this expansion. I'm giving full credit to my friend Skull Shorties on this next speculation, but the next thing I do agree with him on is that Bolvar will most likely have the Four Horsemen interact with us in the different realms of the Shadowlands, essentially becoming our tour guide in each zone. I think this would be a great way to use the Four Horsemen and make them relevant in World of Warcraft's current storyline. As well as the Four Horsemen, I also think in general it'll be really interesting to have the Ebon Blade around at the forefront of the storyline again. While working with the Ebon Blade, I have a feeling we're going to be working to reforge the Helm of Domination, so that Bolvar can once again gain control of the Scourge. I think this would be a very, very fun storyline. It's going to be very awesome to learn about the origin of the Helm of Domination, of Frostmourne, and all these artifacts that we've known for years, to finally just get some more backstory on them. In general, it's pretty awesome to see these items being used in the storyline again, as they're many fan favorites. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was Sylvanas Windrunner. A lot of fans seem to be disappointed that Sylvanas beat Bolvar in the cinematic, and I think it would be really cool if the two perhaps got a rematch at some point during the expansion. Perhaps Bolvar wounds her, at least get some payback for what she did at the beginning of the expansion to him. Also, if there's a pre-event, I would like to see the events leading up to Sylvanas and Bolvar's encounter. Maybe the Ebon Blade are getting ready because they sense some sort of disturbance in the Plane of Death. I think that would be really, really interesting. Maybe we could get a quest chain and Ice Crown. That's something that I think a lot of players would really enjoy. The last thing I want to discuss in this video is the famous Jailer, one of the most talked about characters in Shadowlands. I think Bolvar and him will have some sort of confrontation in the expansion, perhaps through the main storyline, or even perhaps when we have to rescue everybody from the Maw. I think the confrontation is inevitable at this point. Either way, the Jailer looks like a very fun character for us to interact with in Shadowlands, and I can hardly wait to learn more about him. So guys, let me know in the comments below what you think of Bolvar Fordragon. I'm very, very excited to hear from this character and Talia Fordragon in the future. I think they're some of World of Warcraft's most interesting lore characters, but again, as usual, I'd love to hear from you guys below. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.
Hello, loyal viewers, it is I, your Banshee Queen. Can't take that title away, at least. Anyways, I hope your harvest feasting was spectacular. Unfortunately, I can't eat at all, ever. I really do miss stuffing and the turkey this time of year. So that's one thing you guys should be thankful for, is being able to enjoy a sweet meal with those that love you. Oh, I gotta go now. See you next time. Bye.